Hey everyone, this is Annalise. I'm going to be doing another walkthrough today, and specifically today we're going to be working on creating minimalist art in a photo editor of your choice. Again, I'll be using Photopea. It's just photopea.com, and it's, as I've mentioned in a previous video, it's basically Photoshop, but you can run it in a web browser and you don't need an account or registration or anything. And so today we're going to be, like I said, working on minimalist art, and if you've never seen minimalist art before, here's some quick examples just on a quick Google search. So it's basically a very simplified form of art. It's pretty flat, and typically you don't get a lot of the details like facials or some of the nitty-gritty stuff. Some of them are a little bit more detailed, but it's kind of up to you and what kind of image you want to create. So to start, we're all going to grab the same image. So going to the WIC website, which is sys.gvsu.edu/WIC, and we're going to go to our resources.html. Alright, and so we're going to go to the 52120 minimalist vector art in a photo editor. So you're going to want to download this picture. You should be able to right click and then save link as. I'm just going to put it on my desktop and just call it picture.png. Alright, so now in a photo editor, we should just be able to drag this in. Alright, and so this is the character Ollie from the webtoon Lookism. And I thought this would probably be a pretty simple one because there's not too much detail anyway. And I've done this once before, so I'm just going to reset this really quickly. So if you're just starting out in a photo editor, you should have white and black as the two colors here. We're going to change that in a little bit. But the first thing we have to do if we want to create minimalist art is to create an outline of the shape. And how we do that, if you hit P on your keyboard, that'll take you to the pen. Otherwise, if you click this icon right here, pen, and you want to make sure it's on shape, not on path. So make sure it's on shape. I'm going to set the fill to none. And just so you know, there's two different pens. If you hit P again, if you toggle that key, you'll notice this one is the free, it'll tell you here, the free pen. We just want the regular pen. Alright, I'm just going to zoom in to trace this. If I were you, I would make the mask as detailed as you can, or as close as you can, because we're going to be working extensively in the mask. What else? Oh, one other tip too is, so you can obviously zoom in and zoom out with Control+, or Control-. However, let's say you zoom really far in and you want to immediately get back to the full view. If you hit Control-0, that takes you automatically back. So like I said, give me 1 minute to just outline the mask. Alright, so now I have the entire shape traced. Now I'm just going to right click and hit make selection. So you notice now this is all selected, and now we're going to apply the mask. So we're going to actually create a new folder. I'm just going to call it mask. Right, and you'll see this is still selected. That's perfect. We want to select the mask folder, and then we want to hit the mask icon. If you scroll over, it should say add raster mask, and it kind of looks like a little camera. Alright. Now you'll notice on this folder, you can see the mask is obviously right there. This shape doesn't really matter, it doesn't do anything. We're going to be working now specifically in this one subfolder. And we're going to add a couple folders to it. I usually like to create one photo per layer that I do, so I'm thinking the hair is probably going to be one layer, the headband will be a layer, the skin will be a layer, the jacket will be a layer, so I want at least 4, but well, we'll play around with it. Alright, so everything's now in this folder, which is great. What this means is that this mask is applied to each of these folders. So basically, the black in this mask, that's all negative space. And whatever we do within these folders will never get out of the outlined mask that we just drew. And so I'm just going to name these just so I know where I'm working here. One for jacket, one for skin, one for hair, and I think I did headband. Alright, where to start? I'm thinking skin won't be too hard to trace out. And so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the eyedropper, and the shortcut for that is I, or you can grab it here. Alright, and I'm going to click on his face. So now you'll notice that our primary color has adopted this shade. We're going to be using that to fill it later. But first we're going to do kind of what we just did. We're going to trace out just the skin that we want to fill. And we will be using the fill, but I like to start without filling it. That way I can kind of see what I'm tracing. Otherwise it kind of gets in the way, but your preference. Alright, I want to make sure the skin folder is selected. If it's not a huge deal. But makes things a little bit easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trace out the face. Alright, so now we've got our face traced out. Now we're going to go to fill, and we're going to click on red. We're not really going to assign it to red, but red just means a solid color. Alright, now if we click on the red, we're going to select the last one on the left, which is the shade that we just grabbed with our eyedropper. And now you'll notice that the shape that we just outlined is now filled with that color. Works really nicely. One way is to, I like to sometimes take on the mask setting, or the mask folder, I like to set the opacity to 60%. That way I can see what I've kind of already shaded in, but I can also see what the original image is. Alright, I'm thinking let's move on to the headband next. And so again, we're going to use the eyedropper. If you just use shortcut I, or grab it from over here, I'm going to click. I've now grabbed that shade, and now we're going to trace out the headband. And so he's got a stripe of hair running through it, but we're going to have to redo that anyway because we went through the face. So don't worry about this, let's just get the whole block. So now again, switch over to pen. And again, if you click around right now, you'll see it's going to fill with that tan. And like I said earlier, I kind of like to not fill it when I'm drawing, and then I'll fill it after. So let's zoom in and trace this out. Alright, now that we've traced out the headband, let's fill it again. And grab the color we just selected. Alright, and now just to test out our mask, if we fill opacity to 100, you'll see now that we got the headband and the face are all solid. Alright, let's do the jacket, and I'm actually just going to delete a couple of these shapes. Alright, perfect. Alright, so the jacket, and we're going to want to do this in two different sweeps here, because we got two different jacket colors. And we could play around with shadowing, it's up to you. For today, I'm just going to go very simplistic. We're just going to grab the light coat here. Actually, which color? I'll grab this one. Okay. So I'm going to do this tan layer first, and then we'll get brown in a second. And one quick thing to note before I start tracing is that because the jacket layer, we're going to keep it underneath the skin layer. And also, I just realized this should be in here. Perfect. Because the jacket is underneath the skin, we can trace through it. It's not going to matter because the skin is still going to float to the top. So you don't have to be as precise there. Alright, we've encircled this part. of the jacket. And again, it doesn't matter if we cut through the skin layer because we're going to float it beneath the skin anyway. Alright, now we've colored that part. And again, just to demonstrate again how that layering works, if we go to 100% mask, you'll notice that the skin is on top of the jacket because the skin folder is above the jacket folder. If we were to reverse them, now you see the jacket floats to the top. That's going to be important in terms of how we arrange things later. Alright, so let's make the mask again just 60%. And now let's get the brown part of the coat. Alright, so let's grab that color, and we do not have to be at all delicate when tracing here. This will be, we're going to move the layer so it's the absolute bottom, so no worries. So let's make that. Right, and now, I don't know how I got all the way up there, but we're going to put it in the jacket folder, beneath the tan layer, because the tan layer is the one that we traced out to perfection. The brown layer is the one that we just kind of threw in there. Alright, let's check our mask. I think it's looking pretty good so far. Next is the hair. This part should be pretty easy because we've already traced out everything else. The hair, again, we can just kind of do pretty loosely. We do want the hair to be on top though, because the headband, or actually, sorry, we want the headband to be on top. We had it right the first time. We do not want the headband to be overridden. So the hair, let's grab our color. Alright. And here we can just kind of, let me change that first, okay. Make sure we get all the hair. Alright, we are going to fill that hair color, and what we also want is to make sure the skin is on top of that, and this should go in the hair subdirecting. Alright, the other note is that, the jacket should also be on top of the hair layer. Okay, that looks much better. So if we put our mask to 100, we now have hair. The only thing we're missing is that one stripe of hair, which we could get, but again, because minimalist art isn't about the detail, we could also leave it out. The last things that we could add in, just kind of as an optional thing, would potentially be adding in maybe the facials, maybe like the eyebrows and the eyes. Really quickly though, I'm just going to go to my background, I'm going to grab my erasing tool, and I'm just going to, oops, that's not what I want to do. Ooh, no. Alright, I'm actually just going to use the brush. I'm just going to get rid of that speech bubble. There we go. Looks much cleaner now. And also, you don't want to set your background to invisible. You can actually if you have another layer underneath it, but you can't delete the background or else the mask will, everything that you did will also disappear because this is just kind of a placeholder. So let's kind of do a finishing step here. And make sure that if you're going to do the facial details, let's put facials, you want them to be on top of everything, definitely over the skin, for sure. Alright, I'm going to set my mask to, actually, I'll put it at 100, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to make it invisible for a second. I'm going to zoom in, grab some of these colors. Hello. Alright. Oops. Right, you may notice, especially because the eyes are a little bit detailed with a pen, I didn't exactly copy them exactly as the artist would have done, but again, it's minimalism. You can be a little bit kind of vague or simplistic about it. I'm just going to also grab, the eyebrows should be about the same color. Oops, my bad. There we go. So I'm going to grab the eyebrows next. Alright, and if we make the mask 100%, one thing you might notice is that the eyebrows feel a little bit strong. So what I did the first time I did this is I just set the opacity a little bit lighter. And it kind of brings, it makes it a little bit less harsh, I guess. Let's do 2 last things. We could get a tattoo, but I've tried that and it's a little bit difficult. But I kind of do like the nose outline. So again, we're just going to do an eyedropper, grab this, oops, come on. There we go. The shade of dark tan. And then we'll do the mouth in a second. Okay. Alright, we're going to fill that. And then one important thing you'll notice is peeking through the eyebrow, so let's actually move that below all the other facials. There we go. And then how about we grab the mouth? And the mouth will look a little bit odd without doing the black outline around it, but we should be fairly okay. So we'll just see what happens. Okay, and let's put our mask to 100%. Alright, so here we've just done a minimalist recreation of the original image. So here's where we started, and here's where we ended up. And again, you can add a lot more detail in here too. Like if we look at the original, there's some highlights, there's some shadows, and there's some more little soft facial details that we could definitely grab. But today's just kind of a demo to walk you through the basic process of how to create minimalism or create minimalist version of an art piece using vectors and layers, as we've done today. And so again, main takeaways, we gotta first create a mask, and then nested within the mask, we're gonna create a couple different directories where we're going to hold different layers that'll make up things like maybe you usually have like a layer for the outfit of someone, a layer for hair is usually a big one, face, etc. So splitting those up and then just using a solid fill to create that flat look that we see in a lot of other minimalist portraits. Alright, so thanks for joining us, and again, if you need any other resources, our last demo was on how to create the Discord bot. So you'll find that in our resources page on our website. Start with the instructions, and this kind of walks you through mostly the beginning process, which is the harder process, which is about all the configuration, how to get it up and running, how to create it through the Discord application portal or Discord developer portal, all of that. It's less about the actual code because it's a little, I would say it's kind of intuitive. I did include some example code that you can just edit a little bit to see how that'll affect your bot. Alright, so thanks for joining me today. I hope this was helpful, and let us know if you have any other requests for videos you'd like to see. Alright, thank you.